If you can make it through the first 5 minutes of me wandering through the forest, I'll be able to explain. Part of it is metaphor, symbolism, metaphor, parable. I think that's what that is. But part of it is for the show. I have some thoughts, and a lot of it is just theory. I'm just kind of finding my way in the dark, and maybe I'm wrong, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. A lot of people have commented, lamented on but trying to build female characters, strong female characters that we all want to watch and admire. And I don't know, I'm going to say it's impossible to please everyone, and it's a tricky subject. We gotta get through the weeds, if you will. It's a pretty day, pretty evening, and there we go. And it's tricky. It's really tricky. And there's been, a certain trope. And trope's a bad word, because there's classic female characters, strong, powerful characters that that people miss, and then there's another trope that was edgy back in the day, but has been so overdone, I think, that it's been overdone, and it's the new cool thing. But when the cool thing is now officially cool, it's less cool.
What is this?
Leftovers. Enjoy.
There is no flavor. There are no spices. Where are the chips?
Somebody stole them.
So we gotta stay edgy, and some ways of being edgy is taking a step back, if you will.
Disco is dead. Disco is not dead. Disco is life. Nestor, that is the passion.
Finding problems is easy. Let's find some alternatives, some solutions. Let's brainstorm productively, because as a storyteller, I want to include as many people as possible, which is hard.
How come we can't ever have just like a salad?
I think your food is good.
It's hard because we're all different, we're all unique, but we all have some things in common. I remember sharing with a friend about Brian Jacobs. It's about the Red Wall series, and I remember just being surprised. I was like, I don't like talking animals. Talking animals are dumb, and I was like, but taken back, like, oh, but these are really good books. I mean, if you just overlook that simple thing, and that was the deal breaker for him. And so, there are people who love that, and not everyone that loves, and Brian Jacobs, he's got a big furry following. I don't know what that is, but you would have to ask them. I don't know what it is. It's a bit strange, but apparently furries like animals talking, and so he was able to bridge, cast a wider net. He lost some, he won some, he lost some, and Brian Jacobs is a great author and well known, and you know, good memories. Good memories. So I have some thoughts, and a lot of it is just theory. I'm just kind of finding my way in the dark, and maybe I'm wrong, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well.
Then we go that way, to the lake. That way. You are drunk, and when you are drunk, you forget that I am in charge. Fine, then which way do we go? That way!
We'll stop here for a second. So this is all theory, and I haven't figured it out everything out yet, but I think if these are good. If we have something that gets women, girls, invested in the fight, and I've got some theories about that. I'm going to walk and think, and I think I might be lost. I might be lost. Not really lost, but it's raining. I'm going to go inside, and I'll share more about that as soon as I get done eating these amazing melon berries. These are really big, really tasty. I think that's a blueberry bush too. Hey, finally made it to the road. It's raining. There's lots of rain. Made it to the road. Lost the phone. Found the phone. Lost the road. We found the road. But let's continue the discussion someplace dry. And despite the rain, it is amazing scenery. No CGI. So we're just keeping it real, unscripted, and we're just gonna wing it. So let's go. We're back. Hopefully you don't mind the horrible audio quality. Just a little bit of theatrics, if you will. But yes, this is a tough subject, and again, all theory. And I titled this video Our Identity Crisis. Or a character identity crisis. And there's a lot of different arguments on both sides. One side, we want a, G.I. Jane, and that's interesting. And another side says that's unrealistic. That's over the top. Well, when we come to storytelling, over-the-top characters that we would never probably see in real life are interesting, like Superman, Sherlock Holmes, you name it. Those characters are super. Wonder Woman, Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider, or Indiana Jones. Those are all larger-than-life characters. And there's also another type of character, called the average Joe. And that's going to be your Frodo. That's going to be your Harry Potter. That's going to be, someone that's, just like us.
Do you have any idea what it's like to be to be laughed at?
Yeah, sure I do.
To be called names like Wacko. And Freak Boy.
Oh, yeah.
And Paranoid Delusional Psychopath.
It got me there.
To feel completely alone in this world.
as much as us can identify. That's, you know, that's going to be the underdog, the David versus Goliath. That, you know, and all those characters are great characters, and all those are tropes, if you will. And we can all have favorites. Personally, I do not like Superman. I think Superman is boring. I don't think Superman ever learns from his battles. I think Superman could be a lot smarter, more tactful. I personally like Batman. Batman is my favorite superhero. He's our hero. He doesn't have any superpowers. I like that little bit of element of weakness and vulnerability that makes the battles a little more suspenseful. So that's my preference, and we can all have preferences, and we all don't fit in every mold. And I don't like football, but a lot of people do. Now, if you tell me, let's go to the Super Bowl, and I'm like, no, that's okay. Like, oh, no. We're going to have pizza. I'll show up for the pizza. But I'm not into the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I the commercials are better than the Super Bowl, I think. But that's just me. And, and I love sports. I was an athlete. But I don't like watching football. I don't like watching football. But I like the food. So I'll show up for the food. Anyways, when we have a story, we usually, as storytellers, we usually try to bring in, broaden and our net and be inclusive and have something for everyone. You see that in a lot of the really good Disney cartoons way back when. You got Aladdin, you got Lilo and Stitch, you got Shrek, and those are great. And they throw some humor that most kids don't understand. They're still great because I could watch them, and it's like, I could watch them when I was young, and now that I'm older, I can still appreciate some jokes that they're there for me that I didn't see on that side, that I couldn't appreciate then, and I can do now. So, the character identity crisis, and the true tragedy of everything is that modern theory thinks that if we just add a woman, G.I. Jane, that they will get the other spectrum that's not into the action. And I know there's going to be some guys that like chick flicks, but they're called chick flicks for a reason. And we don't have to get, we can get into the gender, whatever, theory, gender construct, nature versus nurture. But that's our traditions. Traditions are very powerful. And there's about well over half of the population does not like your comics, your Marvel. And it's not because there's no women in there. I don't know, let's say you might be able to win maybe 5%, but are you going to win the whole, other half? I don't think so. And I'm going to put this into a bit of a math algebra equation, but don't run away. It's super, super easy. And, all right. Say we have a chick flick. Let's say the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I don't know what it's about, but it sounded weird. My sister was into it, and that's all I know. There's also Anne of Green Gables. I watched that. It was all right. Yeah, not my thing. Chick flicks. Nothing. No one dies. Nothing blows up. There's, no fighting. I'm not into it. It doesn't matter if there's no men or women in it. Just the story is not compelling. And we're gonna keep this PG-13, and all of the chick flicks are, clothes are still on. So what would compel me to watch a chick flick? Violence, action, that sort of thing. Yes, that's very appealing to me. I remember watching Sleeping Beauty, the cartoon, the animated thing, and fast forwarding, I was only watching it for the very, 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 very end, where the guy kills the monster. That's all I was. The whole thing was an absolute bore to me. Same thing for The Little Mermaid. I was waiting for the end. The singing, didn't really care about the singing. Maybe I'm a little bit demented, but I was.
No, the more of the funny show, the little puppets hitting each other. That's what I like. Little things hitting each other.
So let's pretend I was a movie producer and I had a really good chick flick going. But I wanted to broaden, bring in, to be more inclusive. How would I get more dudes to watch, to be interested in the show? How would I do that?
Fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, true love, miracles.
Doesn't sound too bad.
Well, with keeping the clothes on, because want to be a family respected show. How would we do that? Maybe we could bring in some more men. No, that's not going to do anything. You can bring Ken and Chad, and that's still a chick flick. It's still a chick flick. So what do we got to do? Oh, you know what? Ken can imprison Chad and steal Chad's girlfriend, and Chad will rot away for years and years in this dungeon in a remote island and vow vengeance, and eventually escapes, and they have this amazing duel to the death.
I just killed them. I'll do it. I'll run up to Paris, bam, 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 I'm back before week's end. We spend the treasure. How is this a bad plan?
Death is too good for them. They must suffer as I suffered. They must see their world, all they hold dear, ripped from them as it was ripped from me.
That would be pretty good. That'd be interesting. You know, we're on to something now. It's not a chick flick. I mean, if you have a combination burrito, that's the best of both worlds. That's when everyone comes together. It's kind of the Spark Notes version of the Count of Monte Cristo. But yeah. And the quote, Princess Bride, there'll be fencing, fighting, true love, revenge.
Hold it. What is this? Are you trying to trick me? Is this a kissing book?
Wait, just wait.
When's the get good?
Keep your shirt on.
You know, who cares about the true love, but revenge, the fighting, the fencing, torture. That's what the action crowd is interested in. And you know, there's certain types of people that are more sensitive and more interested in certain aspects of life that, you know, that some other people aren't in tune with or just not interested in.
We always knew you were a whoopsie.
I was watching Jordan Peterson, and he was talking with another guy, and they were talking about how, like, a lot of the rough and tumble boys would get into fights and get into physical altercations, whereas the girls, you know, they wouldn't get into fist fights. But when asked, they had the same amount of conflicts.
Or violent confrontation. But that doesn't mean that the competition isn't there. It's just that, and it also may be that men aren't subtle enough in some sense to see it.
No, let me tell you a funny story on that. This was a woman scientist in Finland, who studied children at play in the playground. And she said, if you watch these children, at the end of the day, you say that the boys had 5 times as many or 6 times as many fights as the girls. And that's just from watching them. If she asked the kids, at the end of the day, did you have a fight today? The boys and the girls had equal numbers, which means that the girl fights are just not visible. And she said, if a girl walks up to another girl and that girl turns around and walks away, they consider that a fight.
And I think that's what we have now. A lot of very sensitive people will perceive words to be violence. And a lot of action-oriented people, which, for whatever reason, tend to be male. Maybe it's tradition, maybe it's nature. We don't know. I mean, I have my thoughts, you have your thoughts. Tomato, tomato. It is what it is. People that are usually very sensitive, emotionally sensitive, are just as enthralled into their feelings, into the relationship, into the small, minute details, into their wardrobe and the lighting and all that stuff, the fashion, as action-oriented people are into true kinetic conflict. And for whatever reason, that's a male orientation. A lot of why young adult writing is catered to to girls is because that's the majority of the audience. Yes, there are, I myself included, am a ferocious bookworm. But more boys, for whatever reason, are into the comics, are more visually or are interested in conflict for whatever reason. Maybe it's the culture, whatever that reason is. But we can't just put a woman, right? And there's a lot of great female characters. You have Joan of Arc, you have Olga of Kiev, you have Mulan, you have all these different great female characters. Scott Adams makes a kind of mentions this thing a lot, and that is the two movies on one screen, and we will watch and enjoy what we want to watch. Just like, I can go to a football game, and it can be a good football game if the food is really good and there's funny commercials. Will I remember anything about the football game? Maybe there might be a couple of highlights, but the football game, don't care. Really don't care. I don't even know who won the last Super Bowl or the Super Bowl before that. I only know of Babe Ruth because of Sandlot. Old movie, I know.
Babe Ruth! Yeah. You keep telling me that. Who is she? What? The Sultan of Swat. The King of Crash. The Colossus of Cloud. The Colossus of Cloud. Babe Ruth! The Great Bambino!
I think that's the big issue, is we are ignoring what people come to the game for, that come to the story for. We're all coming for different reasons. We all like different things. And if you are appealing to a action-orientated crowd, and, that's we have to understand what they come to watch. And a lot of them are male, and some of them get a little bit frustrated, when there's a character. It could be any character that can be a little bit overpowered, knows how to do everything, perfect in every way, and is just another dude in a dress. It's not really a female. And
You're no woman.
Now, honey.
Not a woman!
Easy.
Gentlemen, not a woman! Treat like.
they're trying to sell the super, super cool action G.I. Jane figure to the female audience who are typically looking for chick flicks, who aren't as interested in violence as men are. Just, next time, maybe there'll be a couple of girls, but, taking a girl out to an MMA match isn't exactly romantic. It's not. I'll have fun. while they have fun, maybe one or two might. That'd be really cool if you find a girl that likes that. It would be the same if you find a guy that likes musicals. It's just not as common. But we're going for majority. And again, cool characters. Sometimes they're good. Superman, I don't like. A lot of people like Superman. Why do they like Superman? It's because he could do anything but get the girl. Superman's relationship problems are the biggest draw to the I believe to that character, because the mass destruction and big explosions, that's cool too. And he can fly. Okay, I like Batman, so we can all like what we like, but how do we get a female audience? We find what's wrong. We've found what's wrong. How do we draw? Is it impossible to get the chick flick girls to come to the Super Bowl and say, oh, the food's really good? How do we get the chick flick watching crowd, whether they're male or female, into the tent? How do we get them to be more inclusive and appealing for them? Well, we got to have something that they want. Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider, great female action hero, but it was a guy flick. Even though the main star was a kick-ass female doing cool things, and she was a G.I. Jane. And at that time, that was the new thing. Now it's not new anymore. And some people are longing, they're a little bit nostalgic, especially when it comes to action fantasy, like the Lord of the Ring crowd, who are traditionally a very male-heavy audience. There's no romance in the Lord of the Rings. There's no relationship issues. And I know lots of girls that do like Tolkien, and they do like Lord of the Rings. Not as many, but there are some. And how do we get more interested? I think the proper way is to, especially in a heavy conflict, is to get them invested in the fight, because women can be very very violent. The maternal instinct is a very undervalued thing in our society right now. And it doesn't just have to be babies. It could be animals, horses, dragons, Beauty and the Beast, that sort of relationship. It is a maternal, nurturing, soothing. It's fine to have a kick-ass female superhero, and that's great. but a lot of them emotionally are disgenuine. That are a little bit of, I mean,
Don't go into the long grass!
but for the maternal urge, it is so much deeper and complex. There's the mother bear that's going to protect, and then there's the nurturer and the soother, or the taming a beast, seducing a beast of a man. That's Beauty and the Beast. The cuteness factor is a powerful thing. You trigger the maternal instinct, that emotion. It's I think very important. However, that's done in a story, and I think that can evolve, or that interest into the journey, that provoke that interest into the war or the conflict that's taking place in the story. But it's very underrated. It's tragically underrated. And I noticed this in Willow. Willow is a great old movie. And I really noticed whenever I was around female audience, they tended to be more interested in something else than I was interested. I was, I mean,
and forget we ever saw.
I was, the dragons and the sword fighting. That's what I was interested in. But the baby was the big thing, it seemed. And I'm not saying everyone, but I'm saying everyone that is ever alive has a mother. Okay? They might not have been a great mother, but you were born and someone raised you, whether it was good or bad. But the human species, the mammals, are here because of a instinct. It is a maternal instinct. It is ancient. And if you believe in evolution, that is we weren't, 200 years ago, we were still riding horses. We haven't changed all that much. Maternal instinct is a thing, okay? Know a lot of people that were interested because a lot of girls that are interested because of the baby, and they were worried about the baby, and now they're interested in the fight. So when you got kids, you got the cute factor. I'll give you an example. Lilo and Stitch and the Iron Giant. Both really old animations. both had the exact same plot line. The exact same. There's this death thingamigummy, it comes from outer space, and these kids find it and they make it nice and it saves the day. The end, happily ever after.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Wow.
Basic Disney stuff, right? Here's the difference. The Iron Giant is a death robot. You know, it's really appealing, more appealing for the action crowd, for the monster truck people, for boys, right? Traditionally. But that's what it was meant for. Lilo and Stitch, same concept. The little alien is a monster that was created to destroy, and it just happened to be cute. There's the cute factor. There's the cute factor. And it was designed to be intentionally cute. And I'm sure to sell lots of plushies and all that stuff.
Yes, he's good.
But that was something that I don't know anyone that doesn't like Lilo and Stitch. Like, that really was extremely inclusive. That I appealed to a wide age range, and both male and female. I liked Lilo and Stitch. Why? Because there's aliens, there's explosions, there was fighting, there was conflict, and then there's funny stuff. And there's family, and there's emotional tension, and yeah, people identified with that character. Both Lilo and the monster, the alien Stitch. And I think part of the cuteness factor helped. It helped a little bit. There's a maternal drive, and when there's a maternal drive, Mama Bear's awoken, and the outcome of the fight is now important.
Get off the cuticle, man.
And I think that's, if you wanted, for anyone that's wanting to do something that's war, high kinetic adventure, that sort of thing, there has to be a little bit. I mean, there doesn't have to be. Tolkien was pretty good, but that Tolkien is mandatory reading, and it's not really compelling for the. It's not Tolkien is, or the Lord of the Rings is not a good chick flick, if you will. So if you want to capture the chick flick audience and the monster truck audience, there has to be a blending of the two.
Abomination.
Stupid thing. Aloha! so cute and fluffy.
And expecting the chick flick crowd, and I'm specifically saying the chick flick crowd because there's always going to be some people that you know, some girls that like, you know, are tomboys, and there's going to be some guys that are a little more sensitive that like the musicals and that need, you know, a little more drama. Like this can't be just senseless violence, right?
Vända! Hoch die Pfanne! Hoch die Pfanne!
So what I'm saying is, there has to be, if you want to be inclusive, just because there's a chick in armor doesn't make that a compelling female character. It, you know, sometimes we like suspending elements of belief that we like characters that are a little bit larger than life. That's great. But sometimes having a Mary Sue character is a little bit jarring. Even Sherlock Holmes has Superman. They have vulnerabilities, and that's something we get. That's something that that I think is lacking in a lot of the female Marvel type of superheroines. They're a lot of them. You know, it's fine to have a kick-ass female superhero, and that's great. But a lot of them emotionally are disgenuine. That are, I mean, then I think it's more compelling for the for a feelings audience that provokes a lot of feelings, and at the same time for the action audience, because these are two different polarized groups, and there's a lot of people in the middle, and they're trying to get all, you know, you guys got the middle group that likes everything, right? They have a little bit of everything, but then you got your extremes that like extreme action, bigger, stronger, better. And if you can bring them all in, that's something very, very compelling that makes a creator a very compelling story. And I know it's not very specific, but you can go on and on. There's so many different thoughts on that, and so many different types of characters, and I could do a whole hour on just the types of the archetypes of characters, the main ones that both male and female, and the heroes and heroines, and their very strong traditional archetypes that are very powerful, and I don't think they're overdone at all. And we see them again and again. And if you like me to do something like that, let me know. yeah, it's my favorite topic is writing. Yeah, I like knives and swords and stuff too, but writing's my passion, and I love talking about it. And yeah. Chapter 1. Helvisti. Nora took in a deep breath as the ship sailed out of the harbor and tugged at her long fur overcoat that blocked the cold wind as she turned for one last look back at the city. She would miss Takroon and its cozy, bone-white wattle and daub buildings with their shaggy thatch roofs. She watched them fade away until all that could be seen was lush green hills dotted with flocks of sheep and smiling shepherds that waved at the ship as it sailed